Hello, you are looking for a Rolex Submariner Homage watch or lookalike or whatever you want to call it. Then you found the right video. I'm going to show you a lot of different watches which look similar to the Rolex Submariner at different price points, starting around $50 up to over $1,000. And first of all, I just wanted to point out maybe what makes a Rolex Submariner a Rolex Submariner. So let's go to the Rolex website and check the watches. So first of all, you have the Rolex Submariner without a date. So here on the right hand side of the dial, you don't have a date. And then of course you have the Rolex Submariner with date and the magnifying glass, which is I think 2.5 times magnification. So like sometimes you can spot fakes by a lower magnification actually. And just to check the other versions, so you have the no date stainless steel, the date with different bezels, the colors. I'm going to talk about the bezel in a second. Then you have the black date. Then we have the two-tone with yellow gold in the middle with the oyster bracelet. And then we have the date with white gold, which is even more expensive. The price point for the no date is, I think, on the free market around 13,000. If you go to a Rolex shop, obviously, you might not even get this watch if you never bought a Rolex there or whatever. Rolex has a gets a longer and longer waiting list for the popular sports models, and the Rolex Submariner is not so easy to actually buy in an official Rolex shop, where you might have a cheaper price, but on the free market, the no date I think is around 13K right now or even higher, and the other one, I'm not quite sure. But I wanted to talk about the Homage watches and the watches that look similar to the Rolex Submariner. And one thing I wanted to point out is the bezel here, the ring around the dial, and also the crown. So there's just one single crown, because there are some Homage watches which have the stopwatch features of a Daytona, for example, for a chronograph. And the crown here is obviously it's for diving. It has a 60-minute marking, and it's only turnable in one direction, I think only to the left, because so you cannot make the mistake to turn it to increase the diving and the rest of the diving time you have. I don't want to go into the details, but it would be bad if you only have 10 more minutes to dive, and then you turn the dial in the wrong direction and it says 20, and then you're running out of air, or you don't follow the compression times. So it's unidirectional. Many lookalikes might not have the same feature. I think some brands with lookalikes, they don't even know why a Rolex Submariner has this functionality and so on. Actually here we have some examples. I think I was just just searching for automatic diver watch on Amazon, and here you already see there are some with two colors, which is a feature of the GMT, where it makes sense because the bezel of the GMT has a 24-hour marking, and but here for the for diver watch, the making half of the numbers this color and half the other color does not make so much sense. Here it makes kind of sense to have the red for the last 15 minutes, because it tells you if the bezel actually works, that you only have 15 more minutes, but here the crown is on the wrong side. But now that we talked about what makes a Rolex Submariner Rolex Submariner and the main features to identify the Rolex Submariner, let's start and have a look at the different Homage watches, which look very much like a Rolex Submariner. just one more thing before I start with all the watches. I will have a list with all the watches I'm presenting here below in the description of this video. So if you're interested in any watch I'm showing here, just go below and click on the link there. Or I think I also added to the comments, so you can just check either the description or the comments and you find the list of all the watches I'm showing here. Maybe I also add the approximate price, although you know the prices will change over time depending on when you watch this video, but just to maybe give you a hint about like the price range, maybe I will add it. Anyway, so let's start with the list of all Rolex Submariner Homage watches. As an honorable mention, here I was searching for Rolex Submariner wooden watch, and I found this one, Be Well, and it has some kind of bezel, but I'm quite sure it's not turnable in any way. But as you can see, like the oyster bracelet looks quite good, and also, I mean, there are numbers on the dial which the Submariner doesn't have, but this one even has a date without any magnification, and the crown is on the right hand side. So yeah, in theory it kind of looks a little bit like a Submariner, and they have different colors apparently, and yeah, and this watch just costs $30, but bear with me, there will be some watches which look quite similar to the Submariner. So the second one is a Casio. Casio is a well-known watch brand, and actually here this model looks quite similar to a Submariner, like with it has a date. Casio doesn't look like Rolex at all, but still it looks like a nice watch, and the crown is on the right hand side. The bezel, I'm not sure if the bezel actually works. I think it's like it's difficult to find out. Like I did not check for every homage or lookalike watch if the bezel is actually working, but yeah, let's say at least it kind of looks very similar, especially like here the top of the bezel looks very similar to the Rolex. Of course the wristband is rubber, but otherwise it's quite similar, and it's only $50, but of course like it doesn't look as prestigious as the Rolex Submariner itself, but the price is much lower. Then we have Fossil. Fossil is also a very known brand, and here we have a watch which, well, kind of looks similar to a Submariner. Like it has a 60-minute bezel, but sorry for moving the mouse too fast, by the way. It has a date field with a magnifying glass, but I think the magnification is smaller than with the Rolex, and also the two-color bezel. Yeah, we know this kind of two-color bezel from a GMT with a 24-hour bezel, but yeah, here it does not make as much sense, I would think. And but they have also other versions with other colors, by the way, so you can get a black one, a green one, different straps, and so on. So that's Fossil, and at the moment it's $77, let's say. Of course the prices will change continuously, so depending on when you watch this video the price might go up to $100. Like sometimes I have people complaining watching the video after 5 years, and it's like, the prices are not correct. It's like, yeah, 5 years passed, you know, just check the date of the video. So now, like, Invicta is one of the most popular well-known homage watch producers, I think, and if we check here the ratings, 33,584 people rated this watches. Like, I mean, here they have like many different varieties, and as you can see, it's like very similar to a Submariner. Here, let's say the green one, or let's talk about the green one. So we have a date field with magnifying glass. The crown is on the right. The bezel has 16 minutes. I'm not sure if the bezel is turnable, but yeah, overall here it says Invicta, not Rolex, of course, and also the other stuff is a little bit different. Although here this the hour marker looks very similar to a Rolex too, and it almost looks like the index, the time index markers are also greenish in this case. Let's see. No, like I think it's just for the illumination at in the dark. Like the material is just like some off-white. So yeah, basically Invicta has a lot of offers for Rolex Submariner Homage watches. And by the way, down below you find all the links to all the products I'm showing here, all the watches. So you don't have to take notes. You just go below in the description or into the comments and just find the watch you're interested in, click on the link, and you find it. Then I have another Invicta, which is like looks more like the Rolex Deep Sea, deep blue, with a color like gradient from blue to black here, and it really looks quite nice. And here we have the movement. And by the way, like the funny thing is, I saw some ratings or some reviews where like for one of those automatic Homage watches, and the person was like, yeah, it's shit because the battery was empty when I got it. But obviously an automatic watch, you have to wind it at least one, but depends on what kind of movement and there is. But like you have, yeah, there's no battery, of course, so you have to wind it, and then yeah, it works. So yeah, there was a quite funny review, like a person buying an automatic watch and not knowing that, yeah, it's not running on battery. So then we have what is it, Olev, and this looks very this looks very nice, around $100, and yeah, at least on the pictures it looks just amazing. Here you can see the illumination at in the dark. And of course, the original Submariner was made for diving, and underwater it can get quite dark, so the illumination makes a lot of sense. And also here, the Olev, we have a crown. It's not the Rolex crown, but it looks, well, it is a crown anyway. And also the writing below the what is it? The hour hand and the minute hand and so on. Automatic, 100 feet, water resistant. It's like quite similar to the Submariner. We have a date field here. The crown on the right looks very similar to the Rolex, and also the bracelet looks very similar to a Rolex Submariner. And on the wrist, yeah, you really have to have a closer look to see that it's not a real Rolex. And yeah, for below $100 you can get something like this, and they even have yeah, different versions, even with yellow gold two-tone and blue and green, and yeah, other versions, I think. So yeah, this one looks already quite a lot like a real Rolex Submariner. Then we have LOREO, I think. There's no crown in the logo or anything, but it looks quite nice anyway. Interesting, maybe for women. There's a pink version. So here we can see the date field. I almost have the feeling there's barely any magnification, but still, like, it has a date field. And yeah, maybe for a woman that's that likes the look of a Submariner but wants a more female, like feminine color, maybe it's interesting. And yeah, like here we see the movement here, how it looks in a bigger picture, and yeah, looks quite nice. So it's also not so easy to see that it's not a real Rolex Submariner if you just see it like this on a wrist. So could be interesting. And this one costs around $119. Next, we have another one. Yeah, actually, I like this one with the black dial and the blue bezel with a 60-minute dial. And supposedly it also is water resistant and glows in the dark. So, yeah, really nice watch. Also for $119. Before I continue, maybe you can tell me below in the comments which one of the Homage watches up to now you think is the best, or which one is the most interesting for you. But let's continue. So here we have the Pagani Design. And here you can see it looks very much like a classical Rolex Submariner, no date. It doesn't have any date fields, but everything else looks very, very similar to a Rolex Submariner. And yeah, it also looks very much like a Submariner on the wrist. So yeah, this comes very close to the classical Submariner design. There is not so much change, except that there's no crown, but there's the G. And obviously it doesn't say Rolex, but Pagani Design. So, and they have they have the thing in yellow also. So there's a small change, and this one is around $140. Then we have an Orient men's Japanese automatic dive watch, and obviously you cannot change dive watches so much, so all dive watches will kind of look similar, especially at least the automatic ones. And so here Orient has a different design, so it doesn't only have the date but also the day of the week, so it's a day date basically, but the bezel has the 60-minute markers, and it's also available in different colors. The image quality here is not so great. Also the size. Oh, sorry, I was not talking about the sizes so much, but yeah, it's 41.5 millimeters, and the original Submariner is 41, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so Orient has some interesting Homage watches. Then Sterling or Sturling, I don't know how you would pronounce it, but the German would be Sterling. And yeah, like we have the big numbers, which is not normally there for the Submariner, but still, yeah, it's a similar design to the Submariner. It has the bezel with 60 minutes and the crown on the right. And supposedly it's like 660 feet water resistant. And yeah, let's see, there was another one. Here we have one with a date and no Arabic numerals. And this one looks even more like a normal Submariner, but with a date field, although the magnification does not appear to be so big, although maybe it's just the way they took the picture. I mean, Rolex always takes the picture a little bit from the side, so it's more visible that there's a magnification. But yeah, this one, interesting here is the Sterling. This one is about $129. And this one is $379. So there's a big price difference between the different models. And this one is also, where did I have this? Yeah, this one. Like, this one looks quite nice actually. So there are different versions, and oh yeah, well, and here it even says unidirectional bezel. So it's supposed to be also usable for real diving. But of course, for that price, you should expect some real functionalities. Then we have Seiko, or Seiko, whatever. Here you have is it a date field with Asian signs also? I'm not sure about the 3 lines there. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, they have a day and date, and they have different versions. So let's look at this one. So yeah, it does not look exactly like it does not look as nice, as luxurious, I would say, as a Rolex Submariner, but the features are all kind of there. But like, it also has the date, so you always know the day of the week, just in case you forgot. And this one costs 221, and it's a Seiko, however you want to pronounce it, but yeah, it's a well-known watch brand. And here you also have some version with the crown on the lower right, and this is supposed to be a real automatic also. Then we have a Citizen here, and yeah, Citizen watches are also like quite well known, and you can find them in many places. And yeah, and as you can see, it looks like quite nice, high quality, and but like somehow it's not as luxurious looking as a real Submariner, but yeah, all the features are there, the bezel and so on and so on. And it has a quartz movement, so yeah, I guess there's a battery, so it's not an automatic, but on battery, I would say. But you can use it for diving and so on and so on. Yeah, 1 battery required. Then let's see. Well, then we have Bulova, and yeah, here we have a date field with no magnification, so it's more like a deep sea maybe, and it looks quite bulky. So maybe it's more like a it's called Bulova Men's Marine Star Silver Tone Stainless Steel, and who knows, maybe it's more like a homage for Rolex Deep Sea, or one of those like bigger Rolex versions. And this one is 259 at the moment as I'm making this video, and yeah, it looks quite similar to a Submariner though too. Then we have the Bexsey. I don't know how they want to pronounce it, but yeah, it looks quite nice, flashy, shiny, and it like glows in the dark also. But it has a rubber strap, which is quite popular with luxury brands. So I think Audemars Piguet also has like a lot of rubber straps, and so yeah, like does not really look like really like a direct homage or copy of a Rolex Submariner, but it looks very, very close. And this one costs 299, and yeah, it looks quite nice. There might be also some other versions with different colors, and yeah, well, yeah, came with dead battery. Yeah, definitely. Well, if it's an automatic, which I think, then yeah, there's no Japanese automatic movement. So well, bad luck. Yeah, it doesn't come with a battery because it does not use any battery. So yeah, you have to be very cautious with some of the reviews. There are some like simply stupid people which don't know that they bought an automatic watch and think they need a battery for it. I almost forgot the Steiner Ocean One black ceramic diver watch, and this one is not available apparently on Amazon, but as you can see, it looks very similar to a Submariner, also with the date field and the bezel. And this one costs around $460. Then we have the Salvatore Ferragamo 44 millimeters. Remember, the Submariner actually is just 41 millimeters, so this one is bigger. But like, it looks very much like a Submariner, or actually with 44 millimeters it would be more similar to a deep sea. And here we have date field similar to the I think one of the deep sea or sea dweller, and there's no magnifying glass. This one is at 539. There's another one at 550, and it's similar, just with a two-tone gold, and and with Arabic numerals. Well, actually, like here, the 12 is also with Arabic numbers. Then we have the Hamilton, which the dial is quite cluttered here, almost reminds me of a Daytona, but the bezel is also just 60 minutes, and this one is 591. Then next we have the Davosa Swiss-made men's wristwatch, Ternos ceramic professional automatic. And as you can see, it looks very, very similar to a Submariner. Here, well, no, the logo does not look very similar to Rolex, but otherwise it's quite obviously like a dive watch. And this one costs $999, depending on the model. Here we also have a two-tone with rose gold, apparently. And here we have a green one but it's more like a faded green. It's not like a Rolex Hulk. At least on the pictures, it doesn't look like a bright green. And this one is $915. And then we have the Ginault. Here I also couldn't find it on Amazon, so just here on the website. I think it's also somewhere around $1,000, but I'm not quite sure. I did not check that, but I think I showed you enough other Rolex Submariner Homage lookalike watches that this one is not necessarily the best, but here we also have the date field, so it's more like a deep sea or sea dweller, but still a very, very nice watch. And for that price, you should expect it to be also watertight till 1,000 feet actually. So this one is quite close to the real Submariner. Then doesn't matter anyway. So then we have Longines. Well, Hydro Conquest automatic blue dial men's watch, 4,250, and it also has a date field, and the crown looks a little bit different with this side thingy, if you know what I mean. And supposedly it's also 1,000 meter water resistant. 1,000 feet, 300 meters, and but like it has the Arabic numerals here for the 6, 9, and 12, and but like quite high price, but 31 ratings. So I got 3 years ago, 1 second slower days, and so like great quality and so on. So quite good ratings, although quite short reviews. But maybe it's a good alternative to a Rolex for 13,000-14,000. Then we have a Tudor. Well, maybe if you know, Tudor belongs to the same company as Rolex. So Tudor is the entry-level Swiss watch, basically. So the Tudor Black Bay Here, even on Amazon, you can buy it for below 4,000K. That's a quite big jump, I realize, but I just wanted to put it at the end. Anyway, so we have a Tudor for below 4,000. If you remember, the Rolex Submariner was the no date was around 14,000 on the free market. So yeah, it's already much cheaper, and you get real Swiss quality from the same company that runs Rolex. And one mention I wanted to do is the Mont Blanc. Maybe you know Mont Blanc. I think they started with luxury fountain pens, but apparently they also make watches now, and I just recently saw them in a mall, so I thought I mention it. So this one looks very much like a Submariner 2, although it has the date field without a magnification, and the crown is on the right, and overall it looks quite nice. They called it something with ice. I mean, the pattern here, I guess, is supposed to look a little bit like ice, and the price is around $3,200. I think you also cannot buy it on Amazon, but who knows, maybe at some point. Anyway, but I just wanted to mention it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know which Submariner lookalike homage watch you prefer. Maybe the Ginault, or however you pronounce it, or the Longinus, or some of the cheaper ones. Let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps to find some Rolex Submariner lookalike you actually like and can afford. So, see you soon.